The story takes place in a city where some vampires reside among human beings. The people of the city hanged posters on the walls to alert everyone. They intend to stop the massacres done by the vampires. In the city, some street gangsters approach some small kids right in front of their house. The gang leader asks the kids about the priest. The kids shout to leave them alone. The gang leader says that they are here because they need some signatures as their construction schedule's been delayed. He says that he will not go easy on these kids just because they are orphans. So he orders them to bring out the priest. Suddenly, a polythene masked girl confronts the gangsters. She shouts that she would rip their limbs apart. The gang leader grabs the girl by her mask. The kids shout at the gang leader to leave their sister, Hyeon, alone. Hyeon says that she, along with the neighbors, will not be able to live if the gangsters take their home. The gang leader tries to see Hyeon's face, but at that moment, a man who is our male lead approaches them while saying that he would like some assistance regarding some directions. "Who are you?" the gang leader asks. The man ignores the question and replies that he is in this neighborhood to find the police station. The gang leader says that they are currently busy and tells the man to look for it on his own. The man says okay and walks away. The gang leader again tells Hyeon and the kids to bring out the priest. The man returns while saying that he doesn't like the gang leader's way of talking. "Should I recommend you a good prison to stay?" the man asks. The gang leader decides to kill the man, but one of his underlings says something in his ear. Lastly, they say that they will come back next week and leave the area. After the gangsters' departure, the kids hug their sister as they were scared. By seeing this, the man smiles and tells them to avoid dirty trash from now on. Hyeon and the kids says thanks to the man for saving them. The man replies that he didn't do anything special, he just couldn't stand seeing some thugs getting their way. As the man was about to leave, Hyeon says that she knows where the police station is, so she offers to help him. The man replies that he knows where the police station is and walks away. Finally, our female lead Hyeon takes her mask off and reveals her face. Hyeon says that she has lived here at the Catholic orphan age since she was 10 years old, and things like this happen all the time in this old, rusty neighborhood, so it really doesn't surprise her anymore, since this kind of environment helped her to grow stronger. However, she says that there is a downside to this. The hardcore truth is that she has never gone to a school, so she currently has no friends, and this is the peak of her youth, too. She thinks that she has to eat alone and might even grow old doing everything else alone. She decides to just go to class first. In the next scene, the people gather around a dead girl who was attacked by a vampire at the Buchan Street. This is the third vampire incident on this street. Hyeon is traveling by a bus. She looks at the young girl and feels sad for her. In the news, the man says that no one knows where the vampires came from. Is it a generic evolution, or a species that already existed but was hidden from the public? The man asks. He says that they know for a fact that the vampires reveal their true nature at night. He tells everyone to be more cautious and warns them to never ever confront a vampire. Currently, Hyeon is at a party, trying to make friends where some of the co-students have gathered. They are playing a game named the Game of Death, but after 2 hours of drinking games, Hyeon still hasn't had a decent conversation with anyone. She thinks that alcohol will be her hack for tonight, as the students will relax once they get drunk. After some time, she is still completely sober, even after drinking tons of bottle of alcohol, and now she can't even differentiate between alcohol and water. They decide to play a drinking battle of tolerance with an elder guy who has super high tolerance, and Hyeon challenges the guy and wins. Finally, Hyeon gets some recognition, and a female student asks for Hyeon's number after her drinking battle. Hyeon hopes that now she can finally make some friends. Their chats go on for some time, and Hyeon enjoys herself to the fullest. In the middle of their enjoyment, a siren rings to warn them that it's already 11, so they should go back to their home safely. Hyeon also gets ready to go home, but she hears a voice from her back. "Let me take you home, Hyeon. Would that be okay?" Hyeon's upperclassman asks. As they start walking, Hyeon feels awkward because the boy who is her upperclassman is very popular. Why is he being so nice? Hyeon wonders. Hyeon says that it's dangerous at this time of night, so she suggests her upperclassman to go home. She says that she would be able to go home alone. The boy ignores Hyeon's suggestion. Hyeon talks about her family. She says that she lives with cute siblings and good people, so enjoys her life to the fullest. While they are having such beautiful conversations, in the meantime, the other people are running for their lives to go home quickly as they don't want to get eaten by a vampire. Hyeon insists the boy to go home quickly as it's already midnight. It's fine. What's the big deal about vampires anyway? The boy questions. In the next moment, Hyeon sees the same gang leader beating a man while asking for his money. The gang leader tries to punch the man, but at the same time, the man reveals that he is a vampire. The vampire pierces the gangster body with his bare hands. Ah! Mommy! Vampire! Hyeon's upperclassman shouts and runs away at full speed after seeing this incident. Didn't he say that vampires aren't a big deal? Then why is he running like that when he encountered one? Hyeon wonders. The vampire then targets Hyeon. Hyeon desperately looks for a thing that her priest father gave her. The vampire notices that Hyeon is looking for something, so he says that either a cross or a garlic both are useless against him. Hyeon tells the vampire not to do this. Ha ha ha. The vampire laughs as he feels thrilled. The vampire punches the wall and completely breaks it into pieces. He says that this strength is a blessing. The vampire says that he liked Hyeon's expression, so he will give Hyeon the same blessing. Don't come any closer, Hyeon shouts. The vampire says that drinking blood feels better than doing drugs. The vampire goes near Hyeon to bite her. He says that he will turn Hyeon into a vampire. But suddenly, Hyeon's strength increases, and her hair color changes to white as she annihilates her opponent. After killing her opponent in a single blow, Hyeon says that it's futile to bite her because she was born as a pure blood vampire. As it was already past midnight, and her true form was revealed, Hyeon runs on the buildings and quickly jumps to reach her home. After reaching home, she desperately looks for something and finds it. Hyeon explains that she transforms like this when she gets extremely emotional, but thankfully, she is able to calm down with the help of this crown of thorns. She warns herself not to forget to bring this crown along, or else she won't be able to go to school if she gets caught. It isn't easy trying for Hyeon to live among humans by hiding her real appearance. It makes her sad because she just wants to live like a normal human being. At her college, Hyeon is currently studying diligently while her professor greets her and gives her a drink. The professor says that he brought this drink for Hyeon as she is studying so hard. Hyeon's professor is Park Dong-gyu. This is his first year as a professor after graduating from their major. He's an extremely sincere teacher who knows every one of his students by name and even provides counsel during vacation days. He was a legend as a student who worked 3 jobs in order to pay off his tuition. He had a struggling childhood with a single mom, but now they live comfortably and apparently, he'll be a dad next month. Hyeon thinks that Professor Dong-gyu is worth respecting. Hyeon and her newly made 2 friends whom she met at the party are now walking beside her. The female girl says that she heard that Hyeon bumped into a vampire. Did you get hurt? You didn't die? The girl asks. Hyeon replies that she is still alive. The boy blames the upperclassmen for leaving Hyeon along at night. The girl says that it's a fact that there is 1 vampire for every 10,000 people. The girl then gets shocked with what she said herself. In the meantime, Hyeon just wants the girl to stop talking about vampires. Hyeon's hair slightly starts to change, but she handles it. Hyeon knows that since the police report yesterday passed without a hitch, it means she must lay low at school for now. In the next moment, Hyeon hears students, people gossiping. Did you hear about the Busan incident? The boy asks. The girl replies saying yes, a vampire massacred an entire family. All the students cursed the vampires and just wanted the vampire to die as they regarded them as monsters. After listening to all this, Hayan goes on a deep thought. She reminiscent her past when she was a kid. In the past, Hayan was told that she can't be friends with humans. Picture books were her only friends since she was always alone. She prayed every day that she would meet a friend who she could talk and play with. But she wonders if that prayer was ever heard. Wow, you can read books like that? I also read that recently, a boy approached her and that's how Hayan met her first friend. After getting introduced, they always chatted for a long time while sitting on a swing. The boy told Hayan that she could find him here in this spot every day. After talking with Hayan, the boy realized that Hayan didn't go to school. The boy says that Hayan is lucky because the boy always thinks about not wanting to go to school. He says that he doesn't have any friends at school. Want to go to the library together the next time I ditch the school? The boy asks. Hayan agrees with the boy. After that, they met and spent time together every day, and the boy whom Hayan now calls her brother told her things that happened at school that he would normally not tell other people, and Hayan was really thankful for that. When Hayan was with her big brother, she would forget that she was a vampire. Then, time passed and that happiness didn't last for long. One day, the boy met Hayan. Hayan sees bruises on her brother's face, so she asks what happened. Ah, it's nothing. I'm fine, the boy replies. After that incident, they met less frequently and their daily contacts dwindled to nothing, and Hayan got angry. She got angry at herself for not giving anything to her big brother after he had given her so much. Hayan wanted to help him out, and one day that opportunity arrived. Her brother was getting bullied by some of his classmates. One of his classmates tries to slap the boy. Hayan enters the area in disguise and beats the shit out of them. Don't you dare mess with my brother, Hayan warns the bully as she breaks the wall into pieces. After that, Hayan reveals her vampire form in front of the boy. Please, please, don't kill me, don't kill me, the boy repeats as he got extremely scared. This reaction of the boy made Hayan really sad. At present, Hayan's friends wake her up from her deep thought. As they are walking outside the campus, one of the upperclassmen bumps into Hayan. The girl introduces that man by saying that he is infamous. He's their school's biggest psycho, and rumors about him circulate in other schools because he always causes trouble wherever he goes. He hits the students in their department at drinking parties and hustles the underclassmen for money, and he even smokes inside the classrooms. The girl says that she heard that this old fossil is actually their professor's friend. The boy notices that the upperclassman looks rather pale today. At night, the man roams around in the city drinking water, which was actually meant for gardening. At that time, 3 of the man's underclassmen approaches him. The man hallucinates that his underclassmen are making fun of him because he failed so many times and can't even graduate. The girl informs them that the last shuttle bus will be here soon, so they decide to leave quickly. The man wonders whether he imagined his underclassmen insulting him. The man regrets his life for not having a job, even though he is already 28. The man then says that he doesn't need anyone since he received a wonderful gift in form of a blessing. The professor greets the man whose name is Byung-soo. Byung-soo hates the professor who is his friend. The professor says sorry to Byung-soo as they can't meet up today because he is in a hurry. Byung-soo gets even more frustrated as he thinks that they both entered the college at the same year, but he couldn't take the fact that his friend who looks like this landed a job before him. Did he bribe his way in? Byung-soo wonders. He can't stand the fact that his friend even has a nice car now and is paying installments with his own earned money. Byung-soo gets irritated whenever he thinks of his pathetic life. He realizes that no matter how hard a person works, success is given to some and not to others. Sorry. But will you let me pass? The professor asks. Byung-soo again imagines that his friend is looking down on him and regarding him as a trash. Byung-soo can't hold his anger anymore and turns the professor's car upside down. Byung-soo asks the professor whether criticizing anyone's pathetic life makes someone's life better. "Why are you doing this?" the professor asks. "Get away! Don't come near me!" the professor shouts as he gets scared. Byung-soo says that he just started a new life with a new blessing. The news that Byung-soo is a vampire and he killed the professor reached to many students. Everyone is terrified as the vampires have already infiltrated their college. Then, they all get a mail telling them that the general meeting is today, so they decide to go to the seminar. But they didn't notice that the vampire who killed their professor, Byung-soo, reminiscent his past, he remembers that he was not treated well by the other people. Even his own mother told him to earn something from his own. "Do you know how one can stop being called trash?" Byung-soo asks while coming out of his hiding. He destroys that place in anger and says that he will kill everyone in the seminar. Hyeon's friends attended the seminar, but they notice that Hyeon is missing. Byung-soo walks towards his destination where he will kill everyone, but when he opens the door, he sees that there is no one in the meeting room. Where is everyone? He wonders. Then he sees a writing that meeting will be at the Gunja building. Byung-soo says that there is no way they'd have a department meeting here. Then, "Who are you?" Byung-soo asks. Hyeon disguised herself with a mask. "Why would you kill the professor?" Hyeon asks. Byung-soo replies that he can't stand still while seeing his friend getting success, and that's the reason he killed him. "Is that it?" "That's the reason why you killed him?" Hyeon asks. Byung-soo replies saying yes. "So you ripped a hard-working person apart just because of the meager feeling of inferiority?" Hyeon feels extremely angry. "That professor committed no crime, so why did he have to become a victim like this?" Hyeon thinks that it's injustice. Hyeon says that people like Byung-soo are the reason why this world is a scary place. Innocent children can't freely go outside and play, and people are so scared that they can't sleep peacefully at night. Why do these innocent people have to live in fear? She questions. Hyeon goes near Byung-soo and asks him to surrender. She tells him to compensate the professor's family and ask for their forgiveness. Byung-soo immediately punches Hyeon with his full vampire strength. "Yay, that was dead on. I'm invincible now," Byung-soo thinks, but the next moment he realizes that he was wrong. "Did you really think that meager punch worked on me?" Hyeon questions. The vampire gets scared for a moment and instinctively moves backwards. "I was sure it was a full impact. Was it a bad punch?" Byung-soo asks. After saying this, he realizes that the person he is fighting with is also a vampire. Byung-soo tells Hyeon to take off her mask. The vampire laughs when he assumes that the reason why Hyeon is hiding her face like that is because she is afraid to get caught. Hey, I really want to see how cute you are. Can you please take it off?" the vampire asks. Hyeon replies that Byung-soo misunderstood her. Hyeon says that the reason she is keeping her mask on is for the sake of Byung-soo, because if he knew Hyeon's identity, she would have to kill him. "Did you know?" The vampire gets closer to Hyeon while saying this and suddenly starts to beat Hyeon from her back. That's right. This is that feeling where the flesh is ripped apart and bones are shattered to pieces. The vampire enjoys this feeling while beating his opponent, Byung-soo reminiscent his past. In the past, a group of vampires met Byung-soo at a bar, where they turned Byung-soo into a vampire by offering him their vampire blood. After becoming a vampire, he did many crimes and sucked many people's blood. He acquired an important information from his companions that a mixed-blood vampire's lifespan is only 5 years old, but if they join a family named Lion, then they can expand their lifespan. The vampire laughs, as he thinks that this time he has finally broken some bones. "Are you done already?" Byung-soo asks, but the next moment he gets surprised, seeing Hyeon completely fine. How can it be possible? I felt that attack connect. Then what is the thing that broke, he wonders. Then he realizes as he sees that his hand is completely messed up. "Ah! It hurts like hell," the vampire shouts. "Does it hurt? Did you never think about how much pain the professor would have experienced? How can you easily kill a friend like that?" Hyan asks. Byung-soo explains that he was jealous that a kid who grew up eating with a wooden spoon was living better than him who grew up with a golden one. The vampire says that he didn't want to acknowledge that a person like him had turned to trash. But in the next second, he realizes that it makes sense, since he didn't put in any effort in life. After that, Byung-soo says that he went crazy and laughs. He says that the professor was the only friend he had. Only a friend would play the victim in the bathroom. "Ain't that right?" he asks. Hyan says that there is a reason why Byung-soo will be nothing more than a trash because he doesn't take the opportunities given to him. Hyan reveals her face as she intends to kill Byung-soo. Byung-soo tries to punch his opponent, but Hyan stops the attack with her finger and grabs Byung-soo's hand and twists it until it broke. At that moment, he again remembers his past. In the past, he was told that if he ever meets someone from the lion, he must make sure to shut up and kiss the ground. He was also told that there is someone who is more of a threat than the lion. His companions warned him to never ever confront the white-haired vampire. At present, Hyan is beating the hell out of the vampire, which is making even the building shake. "But please don't kill me. I'll do it. I'll compensate the family, so don't kill me." Byung-soo requests to leave him alone. "You'll compensate them?" Hyan asks. She says that Byung-soo's death will be the compensation to the professor's family. Hyan smashes her opponent to the ground from the top of the building. Byung-soo turns into ashes. Again, Hyan is reminded of her past, which makes her sad. Lastly, she goes home. The next morning, detectives and the police officers arrive at the crime scene. They notice that the body has already turned into ash. How the hell are we going to investigate it? They wonder. In the next moment, our male lead, who is a detective inspector named Hwang Yuntae, arrives at the scene. As the inspectors were investigating the case at that time, Yuntae appears and shocks them. Yuntae then requests them to fill him up with the details of the situation. The inspector WHO is in charge of this situation gets annoyed and asked him that who sent him and if he is here to spy on Thayer team members. The inspector then pushes Yuntae and tells him to go away and deal with his own work. Yuntae then grabs the inspector's hand and looks at his watch and tells that this is a very expensive watch. The inspector gets a bit nervous and said that it cost him an arm and a leg. He then tells Yuntae to leave him, but Yuntae ignores him and grabs his hands more tightly. He then gets closer to the watch and tells the inspector that he can smell a faint scent of cologne from the watch, but inspector didn't use cologne. He further looks carefully and again founds another fault. He then asked the inspector that if the expensive brand didn't adjust the wristband before selling their watches. After looking at the time, Yuntae gets that it is the time of Russia. He then tells the inspector that recently a black market drug dealer gets out of the prison and was sent back to his country. Saying this, Yuntae looks at the inspector and says that he didn't know there were still people tacky enough to receive watches these days. Hearing this, the inspector gets scared and asked Yuntae in a shaky voice that what he means by this. Seeing him scared, Yuntae taps his shoulder and tells him not to piss his pants, as he was just speculating. He further tells him to be polite to him, as they are co-workers. The subordinate of the inspector sees this and admires Yuntae for being so awesome. Inspector Hwang Yuntae graduated early and has almost genius-like memory, where he would never forget things he's seen once. He has a record of arresting vampires that exceeds 80% after vampire countermeasures have started, and he even won the highest national medal at a young age for his distinguished services in his groundbreaking arrest methods. The list of Hwang Yuntae's achievements is endless, so people call him the vampire hunting ghost. Yuntae then says farewell to the inspector and gets out of there. As he gets out and goes to the destroyed place, a policeman tells Yuntae that this destruction is because of some vampires were fighting each other. Yuntae then looks at the cracked building and thinks that if this was a fighting between two, there would be evidence scattered all over the place, but as there is no evidence, it seems like that the fight was one-sided with no chance of survival for the victim. Through this, Yuntae comes to a conclusion that this vampire is not a usual one. After that, we can see Hyeon's school. In front of the school, student starts to protest against the vampires. Hyeon is walking with her friends. Seeing this, her friends tells them that from now on, they should do all the classes online. But Hyeon is tensed about other matter as she has to more careful from now on. After that, the three of them starts to walk. At that time, Yuntae comes from behind and calls Hyeon. Hearing the call, the three of them truns back. Her friends get shocked to see such a handsome man. They asked Hyeon that of this is her BF. Hyeon replied, no. She recognizes Yuntae as he was the one who asked her about the direction of the police station. Yuntae then introduces himself to them. He show-offs a bit and tells them that he was the topper in all of his classes, and he also graduated early from the police academy and became an inspector at the age of 28. He also tells them that he is famous for arresting vampires, and so no. Hearing all of this, Hyeon asked if he is a detective. Yuntae replied that he is. After that, the two of them walks around Hyeon's school. As they were walking, everybody was looking at Yuntae for his handsome looks, but Hyeon is a bit tensed as she didn't know the reason he is walking with her. After a bit of walking, Yuntae tells Hyeon that he is hungry and they should go and grab something to eat. As they were walking towards the restaurant, Hyeon asked Yuntae that what they do with the vampires after catching them. Yuntae says that it's a good question, but they usually didn't publicize this matter, so not many people know about this. After that, Yuntae starts to say that a vampire's weakness is their heart, but stabbing or shooting it won't kill them since they will just regenerate. You need to completely expose their heart for them to die, however. This is impossible, since their flesh will quickly regenerate after each incision is made. So we've come up with a more definite measure. First, we restrict their movements by hanging them on a noose with high-voltage electricity running through them, then throw them in a furnace that's over 2,000 degrees Celsius. That way, they'll burn away without a trace. Hearing this, Hyeon gets nervous as this type of thing she has only seen in movies. Yuntae then tells Hyeon that not to get nervous as this is his idea. Hyeon starts to sweet and says to Yuntae that he has quite the grudge against the vampires. Yuntae speaks up and said that he wants to turn back time to what it used to be 10 years ago. He wants to get rid all the vampires so that people can roam around freely without any fear just like 10 years ago. Hyeon looks at Yuntae and smiles. Later they goes to a restaurant and orders lots of food. Yuntae is very excited to eat the food. Yuntae tells Hyeon to order more food for her as this is his treat. He also asked Hyeon that if she is okay, only eating a single kimbap. Hyeon tells Yuntae that this is enough for her. After that, Yuntae starts to dig in. Hyeon thanks Yuntae before eating. Hyeon looks at the food and the smell coming from it gives her a nausea. As she was looking at her food, she hears Yuntae's screams. As she looks at him, she sees that Yuntae has cut his hand and it is bleeding. Hyeon asked him that if he is all right. Yuntae tells her not to worry as he sees blood every day. As Hyeon sees the blood, her vampire instincts activated and she feels thirsty for blood. Yuntae sucks his blood and looks at Hyeon. He sees that Hyeon is looking down. Hyeon holds the crown in her bag to stop the vampire instincts. She gets that Yuntae is testing her on purpose. Yuntae apologizes to Hyeon for showing blood while eating and tells her to eat hurry as it will get cold. As Hyeon didn't start eating, Yuntae asked her that if something is wrong, or if she is a person who cannot eat this type of food. Hearing Yuntae's words, Hyeon asked him that what he is talking about. Yuntae replies that he doesn't think that there is any Korean who do not like kimbap unless they are vampires, as they can only drink blood and beverages. Yuntae further says that as soon as vampires eat something like this, their entire body rejects it as if they are in excruciating pain. Hearing his words, Hyeon gets scared. She thinks that Yuntae knows that she is a vampire and he is here to capture her. She also thinks to make excuses and leave. But she cannot do that as if she does this Unti's will. Surely get that she is a vampire. Hyeon then makes a tough decision and picks up the chopsticks with her shaky hands. As Hyeon is silent, Unti asked her that if he has said something silly. Unti then looks at Hyeon and gets shock as Hyeon is eating the food with a very comfortable face. She also tells Unti that this food smells so nice and she is loving it. She then hurriedly eats the food and quickly goes to the washroom. In the washroom, she vomits out all the food. And after that, she sits on the toilet and takes some breathe. She looks up and thinks that everything has went peaceful. She also prays to God to help her out, and she swears that from now on, she will live a peaceful life. As soon as she gets out of the washroom, she again meets with Untae. Yuntae seems happy to encounter her. He also tells her that it is fate that has made them come face to face. On the other hand, Hyeon gets nervous to see him. She puts a fake smile on her face and tells him that it is not fate. Rather, it is pure coincidence. Yuntae then notices that Hyeon is carrying rice donuts, so he asked her about this. Hyeon replies that she is taking this for her younger siblings. She then asked Yuntae that if he wants one. Yuntae gets embarrassed and tells her that he didn't want it, he just asked her out of curiosity. Hearing this, Hyeon gets happy and starts to walk out of the building. As she leaves, she tells Yuntae that her younger siblings love this, and after saying goodbye to Yuntae, she takes her leave. As she gets out of the building, another crisis is waiting for her. Some school students come out on the streets to catch vampires. They bring knives with them and cuts themselves and encourages the streets crowd to do so, as vampires heal faster. So this is an effective method to know who is a vampire. Seeing this, Hyeon gets totally shocked. She is thinking of a way to leave from here quickly. At that time, a hand approaches her. As she looks back, she sees that Yuntae is here, and he grabs her hand and starts to drag her away. As the two of them is about to leave, at that time, some students block their way and ask them if they are willing to do the test. The student says that they will just make a small cut, and after the test, they will also provide medical treatment. One of the students looks at Hyeon and tells her that as she is trying to leave, so why not she first go through the test. Hyeon tells the student that it is wrong to suspect someone without any proof, and it is also not right to force someone to do this. Hearing this, the student replied that they are doing this because of the incident that occurred in their school, and they are also doing this to stop further cases like their school. The student then forcefully grabs Hyeon's hand and starts to move up her sleeve. Hyeon gets nervous as she cannot let them cut her as it will get her caught. As the student rises the sleeve, he stops as there is already a bandage on Hyeon's hand. Seeing this, Hyeon also gets shocked at that time. Yuntae pulls down her sleeve and tells the student that they had already done the test. Hyeon then figures out that this bandage is the bandage of Yuntae, when he cuts his hand on the restaurant. After that, they are about to take their leave, they were stopped by the student's captain. The captain tells that he wants to check the bandage for himself. Hyeon gets scared, as if the captain checks her, she will get discovered. The captain then starts to garbs Hyeon's hand, but he is stopped by Yuntae. Yuntae then threatens the boy and tells him that it is a crime to bring out knife in public. Yuntae then grabs the hand tightly. The student then asked him that what he is doing and tells him to let him go. Yuntae then tells that he understands how the students feel, but they should let it go as they have done enough. The student gets angry and shouts at Yuntae that how is he supposed to believe him and let him go? They have to catch they vampires today, as they are even risking getting kicked out of school for this. Yuntae then shows the students his police ID. The students get scared to see this. Yuntae then tells them that the girl is helping him in his criminal investigation, and if they are willing, they can join them. The students replied no and back off. Hyeon then looks at Yuntae. After that, the both of them gets out of them. Hyeon gets to her house, and Yuntae goes on his way. At night, when Hyeon is sleeping with her siblings at that time, she received a text on her IT was a text from Yuntae. He messages Hyeon that she can call him at any time when she is in trouble. While Hyeon was reading this at that time, her siblings gets up and teases her, saying that it's her boyfriend. She explains to her siblings that it's not like that and tells them to go back to sleep. After that, Hyeon starts to think about Yuntae. She cannot figure out that why he has helped her and let her go, and from all this time she spent with him, she can tell that Yuntae is not a bad guy. On the other hand, we can see Yuntae is standing on the rooftop smoking cigarette and looking at his phone. He is looking at Park Hyeon's picture and talks to himself, saying that he wouldn't thought that he would meet with a pure-blood vampire like this. Then in the next morning we can see two thugs have come in front of the church and shouts out for the priest. One of them gets scared and tells the other that they should leave now. The overweight guy scolds the man and tells him that they are gangsters, and there is no turning back, and also this is the last place they need to deal with. After scolding the man, the overweight starts to badmouth the priest. At that time, the priest arrives and asked them that if they are looking for him. Seeing the priest, the thugs starts to shake. After a while, the overweight guy brings out a paper and tells the priest to sign on it like a gentleman, or else he will not go easy on him. Hearing this, the priest rises the club and smash it on the ground and breaks it. He then put out the cigarette with his tongue and tells the thugs that this is not the best place for this type of conversation, so they should go to a quiet place. The thugs get scared and gets out of there. As they were getting out the stairs, the fatty tells to this subordinate that he would have cut the priest's limbs and crush him if he weren't so busy. The subordinate replies that they have no work to do. Hearing this, the fatty gets angry and tells him that he has lots to work. Then after walking for a while, the fatty asked his subordinate that, "What's up with priest, and who is he?" His subordinate replies that, from the looks of the priest, he thinks that he was in a gang, and there are also words on the streets that the priest was such a person that leaves a trail of death bodies behind him. After that, we can see Hyeon. She is at home and is praying continuously from the morning. At that time, the priest Michael arrives, and seeing him, Hyeon leaves her praying and greets him. Her siblings also gets happy to see the priest, seeing Hyeon acting weirdly priest. Michael asked her that why she is acting like this. Hyeon smiles and tells him that she is just happy to see him after a long time. Hyeon then asked him about his training. Priest Michael replied that it was nothing special. Priest Michael is a father-like character for Hyeon. He is the reason that Hyeon is able to attend college and live like a normal person. Hyeon is a bit nervous as Priest Michael will get angry if he come to know about her incident. At that time, some neighbor aunts come to their home and greets Priest Michael, and has also bought a present for him. They bought a jar of Japanese apricot wine for Michael, as they knew Michael is an alcohol lover. Michael takes the jar and looks at it and thanks the aunts for it. On the other hand, Hyeon is getting relaxed as she thinks that Priest Michael didn't know about her incident. As soon as the ladies leave, Priest Michael tells Hyeon to follow him as he has to talk to her. Seeing the tone of the Priest Michael, Hyeon gets that she is dead now as Michael has figured out her incident of going outside. After that, the two of them goes to the rooftop. Michael leans on the railing and looks down the valley, and he sees that two men are keeping them under their surveillance. As the men notices that Michael is watching them, they quickly hides. Seeing this, Michael finds the situation a bit suspicious, so out of tension he brings out a cigarette. Seeing Michael silent for a while, Hyeon speaks up. After that, priest Michael asked Hyan that if she was involved in the vampire incident in their neighborhood. Seeing Hyan standing silently, Michael gets his answer. He lights up the cigarette and asked Hyan that what had happened if she got caught and if she think about his younger siblings and the neighborhood people. Hyan replied that she had no other choice on that day. I trusted you to make the right decision up until now, but this, I can't let it pass. You're not allowed to go to school until you get it together, Priest Michael said. Hyan protested and tells Michael that it's unfair as she is trying her best to live here. Hyan starts to cry and says that she has never went out since she was 10 years old and she didn't even have a single friend. She did everything he asked and never caused a single incident until now. And as she has just started going to school, can't he just trust him a bit more? Hearing this, Michael shouts at Hyan and asked her that, if she don't get it, that no matter how much you train a beast in people's eyes, she is nothing but a monster. Hearing this, Hyan gets totally shocked. After that, at night, Hyan gets out of her home and comes to the street. It is raining, but the protest against vampires is still going on. Hyan walks in front of them without any umbrella. She then goes and sits on a bench and starts to talk to herself. She don't remember anything before arriving at the orphanage in the autumn 10 years ago. There was one thing that she realized as she was discovering about herself, that humans were a vast field of glaringly beautiful flowers, and that this was a place where she didn't belong. She further thinks that Priest Michael's words are right. It doesn't matter how hard she try. To these people, she is only a monster that prey on humans. But Hyan wishes that she just wants to be human. After that, we can see at the Red Boom Club 3 workers are gossiping in front of the entrance. While talking, one of them asked about the lions. The guy who knows about them starts to tell that lions are the 6 leaders that control the vampires of this country. They are completely different from the vampires you've seen. They have overwhelming power that allows them to control the countless beasts, like vampires, and a single lion can destroy an entire city with their power. Hearing this, the man asked that if he can become a lion. The other man replied that he can't. At that time, a man wearing a long coat arrives and wills to get into the club, but the club's man stops him and tells that he cannot go inside. The man tells the club's man that he wants to meet the lion. Lion, this ain't a zoo, so why don't you take your sorry ass out of here? The club's man replied. The man in coat ignores him and pushed him away. Seeing this, the long-haired man mocks the other guy for getting ignored. As the man takes a few steps forward, the 2-man blocks his way and threatens him. The man in coat didn't give a shit about them, and in a few seconds he knocks them out. Then as he moved towards the stairs, the other guy blocks him. The man in the coat gets angry, and he tells the guy to bring out the lion. After that, we can see inside the Red Boom Club, a subordinate of the lion goes to him and tells him about the situation. The lion's name is Lucy, and he finds this funny, so he tells his subordinate to bring the guy to him. Inside the club, everyone is enjoying the DJ and their drinks at that time. The man in coat breaks through and shocks everyone. As the public sees the man, they get that he is a vampire. Seeing this scene, the public gets scared and runs out of the club. The man stands at a container as he finished killing the worker. He shouts out loud and provokes the lion to come out. Excellent, exquisite. So what can I help you with? Lucy comes out, clapping his hands, and tells this to the man. The man gets down and asks Lucy that if he is the lion, but he didn't seem so as he looks like a failure. You're the first to say such a thing to me. But you see, I know guys like you real well. You might be strong as shit. But what you gonna do with only 5 years to live? There is a way to extend your lifespan, and that's to become a lion, right? Oh, but you know, you look real familiar. Aren't you that UFC champ? You are, right? Kukuk, I'm a huge fan. I like you. Why not work under me, Lucy tells all of this to the man. Hearing this, the man gets angry and says that he didn't work under scrawn-ass punks like him. Lucy warns him to watch his mouth if he don't want to see blood. The man ignores the warning and tells Lucy that he will give him one last chance to live if he hands over his position to him. Oh, ho, ho, ho! Ah, so scary! As soon as Lucy gives the reaction, the man punched him on the chin and tells him not to worry, as he will get more scarier. The man continuously throws punches at Lucy and pushed him back. The workers of Lucy sees this and gets confused that how can a person get this strong after turning vampire for a few days? As the man punches Lucy, he smiles as he can feel the power difference after turning a vampire, and he wants to settle his annoying life and become a lion so that he could live on top of the world. The man gets excited and tells Lucy to die. At that time, Lucy shows his golden teeth and smiles and gives a nice finger flick on the man's forehead. As the man gets hit, he flies away at Mark's speed and hit the wall and died instantly. Lucy then wipes his hand on a towel and tells his underlings to take care of the body. As Lucy sits and takes a sip of the beverage, at that time a man comes and tells him some news. Hearing the news, he gets happy and tells his boy that they should go and meet the pure blood. After that, we can see that at the park, some people are gathered around a drain. They are shouting of help as a cat has fallen in the drain. They cannot save it as the drain is closed with iron cages. Hyeon hears their screams and she arrives at the sea and diverts the public's attention. In that split of time, she opened the iron cage and saves the cat. As she was about to leave at that time, the bulky man looks at her and gets shocked to see that she has already rescued the cat. The man shouts and asked her that how she did it. Hyeon gets nervous, but she made up a story and tells him that the iron cage was already open, and as she pulls it, it just came out. Hyeon then W as given a certificate for saving the cat. This news of her is printed on the newspaper and the priest Michael sees this. He gets angry and shouts at Hyeon. She explains the priest that she didn't it to save the cat. Michael ignores Hyeon's word and tells her to stay quietly in this area. He takes a pause and then speaks. He says that half-bloods, for the past 10 years, they've been increasing their power, and we don't know how far it goes. They have gangs that are organized like terrorist groups and hide in influential positions in circles such as politics, military, or the police. They'll patiently wait before taking action to acquire whatever they want, but in the end, they'll completely overtake Korea. And the thing they want the most is a pure-blood vampire, strength, power, money. They may have everything, but the one thing they lack is lifespan. The only thing that can increase the length of their life is just one thing, your blood. Hearing this, Hyeon asked Michael that how did he know about this? Michael tells her that that's not what's important right now. Hyeon stays silent and looks at the table. She sees that on the table there are lots of books about vampires' cases and info. She then takes a page from there, and by looking at it, she asked Michael that what she is to him. Michael tells Hyeon to stop acting like a child in a situation like this. You're right, I'm a monster. But have you ever thought of what was going through my mind as I lived day to day, Father? You're not worried about Park Haeun, but that Park Haeun is a vampire, right? Haeun says this to Michael in watery eyes. Michael gets shocked hearing this. After that, Haeun opens the doors and runs away while crying. Michael tries to stop her, but he was too late. As Haeun leaves, Michael sees that a paper has fallen from Haeun's pocket. He picks up the paper and sees that it is a happy birthday letter for him. Seeing this, he sits on the table with a heavy heart. As Haeun runs, she thinks about Michael, that he was always that way, always honest when it came to people, and he honestly never thought of her the same way. As she thinks about this, tears crawl out of her face. After that, we can see in the church priest Michael is holding the prayer. People stands at a line and comes to him for their prayers. As he was praying at that time, he suddenly feels a chill sensation. He then looks front and sees that the A-man dressed in a red suit and holding an umbrella stands in front of him with a creepy smile. Michael notices that the vampire standing in front of him is on a whole different level. The vampire, whose name is Lucy, says that he is looking for a person. He realizes that he somehow needs to send the innocent people outside of the church. Who's that? What's the father doing? The people question as they are confused. Michael tells the vampire to come back later, as they are in the middle of communion. Lucy replies that he would leave this place as soon as he finds the person that he is looking for. Michael replies in a deadly voice that the person Lucy is looking for isn't here. That's quite a vicious gaze for a clergyman, no? How would you know who I'm looking for? Lucy questions. Hey, kid, hurry up, will you? One of the men asks as he gets angry. Lucy warns the man not to touch him, or else the man has to suffer severe consequences. The man slaps Lucy on his hand, and Lucy's umbrella falls due to that. Hey, measly kid, where'd you learn to talk like that? Can't you see that people are waiting behind you? The man shouts at Lucy. Stop it, dear, Michael requests. In the next moment, Lucy gives a death glare to the man, and it was enough to make the man tremble in fear. Lucy decides to attack the man, but at that moment, Michael shouts, Enough! And glares at Lucy. Michael tells everybody that it would end today's prayer here. What happened? Will Father be all right? The people question as they leave the church. Ah, by the way, why not come and have some fun when you have time, Father? Lucy mocks Michael. Lucy tells Michael that he will give Michael a special discount if the father ever comes to Lucy's bar. Lastly, Lucy tells the father to give his regards to Hyan. After the vampire's departure, Michael sweats like hell, as he couldn't hold his strong composure anymore. In the night, Michael conceives that the lion already knew the location of the pure blood, but they confronted him, or Hyan, previously because the lion were waiting to take the heart of an adult pureblood. Michael sees his photo with Hyan and the kids, which makes him reminiscent his past. Previously, during the time Michael was dispatched abroad, he befriended a young child. Despite his difficult life, he was a bright and optimistic kid. They became quite close, communicating in short words and phrases, and that kid was the one who put a smile on Michael's hard and worn-out face. However, just how a sandstorm appears without warning, that fateful day approached. Michael ended up meeting the kid again at a place that he wished he never hoped to meet him in. The terrorists were building and transporting bombs nearby, and the kid had been strolling around the vicinity for the past couple of days. Hands on your head. Slowly. Take your hands off the bag, kid, the mercenary ordered, and Michael tells the kids to obey the order. The kid was shaking in fear and crying, but he did what he was told, but in the end, the kid died a measly death. The mercenaries then got the information that the terrorists are transporting the explosives to the west. Go to the west, all of them shouted. Michael realized that the parents had used their own kid as bait while transporting the bombs themselves, and the only thing that the kid had in his bag were empty paint cans. Michael lost his smile on that day. The feeling of helplessness and guilt weighed heavily on him, and he lived every day with regret in his heart. Michael then selfishly thought that serving God would help him wash away this guilt, but in the end, nothing changed. One night, Michael was listening to the news. The news said that rioting vampires have started to escape. The authorities are currently investigating to see whether the Bangsan Market arson incident was caused by infected vampires. Vampires have indiscriminately drained blood and murdered countless people. Going out at night is inadvisable, and authorities have asked the people to contact them if anyone seemed suspicious. The appearance of vampires caused the entire country to go into a state of chaos. And on that night of record-high snowfall, Michael was again met with a storm without warning. He notices a little girl completely drenched in blood, and without lingering, he quickly took that girl into the hospital. What? What are you saying? Michael asked as he got totally shocked. The nurse told him that the little girl doesn't have a single injury. How can it be possible? She was completely drenched in blood a few moments ago, Michael thinks. Are you her guardian? The nurse asked. Michael tries to say no, but he couldn't, as he looked at the face of a helpless child wanting a shelter. It reminded Michael of the sorry face of the kid he was befriended with. Michael brought the girl home with him as if pushed by fate. Except for her name and age, there was nothing else Park Hyan remembered, and it was soon apparent that she wasn't human. Every time he looked at Hyan's face, he would have nightmares of the memory that he wanted to forget. One night, Michael was listening to the news while Hyan was still awake. The news said that the crime rate of vampires has steadily been on the rise. Fearful citizens have attempted to hunt down these vampires on their own. However, this has only increased the crime involving major injuries and arson. This is why they ask the citizens to not do anything rash and report suspicious people or activities to the local authorities. Michael searched for the letters his late friend gave him and threw all it in a dustbin as he didn't want the nightmares to haunt him. Hyan looked at Michael from the sidelines. In the next morning, the priest came home and looked for Hyan. Where's the kid? He wonders. Michael found a letter on the dining table. The letter contains, "Dear Father, it's Park Hyan. I hope Father lives a good life. Because of your kindness, I could sleep in a warm bed and eat warm food. I'm sorry for throwing up the food you gave with love. I'm sure it was difficult for you to keep me like this. So, thank you for everything. Sincerely, Park Hyan." Hyan went to the police station in order to reveal the truth. "What's up, kid? Did you get lost?" The female police officer questions. What? Well, truthfully, Hyan hesitated to speak, but she gathered up all the courage and says that she is a vampire. The female officer then laughed at Hyan. "Hey, kid!" The officer told Hyan that playing a job like that will get her into trouble. Hyan again tried to convince the police officer. "Didn't I tell you to stop? What are you going to do if you really get caught up by vampires?" "Hey, kid, where are your parents?" the officer questioned. "I just need to prove it, right?" Hyan asked in a sad voice and starts to transform. For a moment, both the police officer felt an uneasy aura. But at that moment, Hyan's father arrived and stopped her transformation. "Did she play a weird on you officers?" The father questions and apologizes for Hyan's mistake. In the present, the priest is getting ready for the fight with the vampires. The father thinks that no matter what the circumstances, he must save the church members from this assault. He quietly sneaks out of the house. "Where are you going with such a big bag?" one of the vampire questions. "It's almost as if you're trying to run away, ain't that right?" one of the vampire questions. The aura and the pressure that the vampires are emitting now can even make an adult faint. "They're still children. Can you please just go back for today?" the priest requests. But the vampires rush at the church and the house. "No, please, please spare the children," the father shouts. The vampires didn't listen to the priest and breaks the door of the house. As the vampire enters, he notices that he already fell for the trap laid by the father. The whole house ignites in mere seconds, and the vampire who rushed to the house gets completely immolated. Another vampire rushes at the priest and tries to punch him, but the priest blocks the attack with the huge bag. The priest had something up his sleeve. He uses a flamethrower to completely annihilate the vampire. "Put it out! Ah!" the vampire shouts as he turns into ashes. "Where's the pure blood?" one of the vampires questions. The vampire says that he doesn't know where the priest get that kind of courage, as humans are like insects in front of a vampire. The vampire warns the priest. He says that this battle will not end nicely. "Ah ha ha ha! I knew you vampires are terrified of heat and fire. The time right now is when the sunlight is at its peak. Why else would I have created a scene now of all times?" the priest explains. The vampire understands that they have been played by the priest. The vampire gets angry as he notices that the priest purposely came out when they couldn't even use their full strength. "Who the hell are you?" the vampire questions. The priest replies that he is nothing more than an insect-like human. The priest, who was a mercenary, has many weapons in his arsenal. "So, Having a small handicap should be fine, don't you think? The priest questions.